From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. A production of iHeartRadio.
Hello, welcome back to the show. My name is Matt.
My name is Noel.
They call me Ben. We are joined, as always, with our super producer, Paul Mission Control Decant. Most importantly, you are here, and that makes this the stuff they don't want you to know. Shine bright like a diamond, as I believe Rihanna said. We wanted to do a fun one today. Or at least I really did, especially because we have some dark water ahead. So here we go. No fooling. If you read the title, today's episode is about glitter. Seriously.
Glittery water, perhaps, ahead as well.
Oh, yes. Glittery water before we get to the dark stuff toward the end of the year. Look, some people love glitter. Some people hate it. But every single person listening now, we all know what we're talking about when we say glitter. This shiny stuff has also been called the herpes of the arts and crafts world, a joke I appreciated because it does seem, Noel off-air used the word insidious, with which I agree. It seems to get everywhere. Even when you don't want it to, glitter does not care about your consent. It doesn't care what you're doing later that day, that week, or, even months after that when you pick up that coat because the weather has changed. The full disclosure, fellow conspiracy realists, the four of us, counting Paul, aren't especially glitter people. We don't wake up and go to sleep dreaming of glitter, but we learned fairly recently that glitter may be much more than a scintillating cousin of confetti. In fact, it is associated with a surprising amount of mystery and conspiracy. So first things first, here are the facts. Riddle me this. What is glitter? What is it?
Stardust.
Is it stardust?
It's magical,
like pixie dust?
Magical stardust. It's created by the Fae people. In trees, presumably. No, it's not that at all. It's an industrial grade material, basically, that's cut into tiny pieces that are impossible to recover or to remove from wherever they find their way.
Yes, and it's got a fun real name, I guess. It was fun trying to put PH and TH together. That's not a fun thing to do. Oh, I guess it is an exciting thing to do for your mouth, but in the end, it's not fun for anybody who's listening. But polyethylene terephthalate.
Yes, nailed it, man.
Aluminum metallized polyethylene terephthalate. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Metallized. What does that even mean? Is it something either metal or it's not? How does something become metallized?
It's like, so potato chip bags are crisp for our friends across the pond. They are metallized. Essentially what you do is you take aluminum and you evaporate it in a very, very thin layer across a substance, right? A substrate. It's weird. It sounds like we're just throwing a bunch of words at you without really answering the question. What is glitter? But okay, let's be even less helpful. There's a fantastic New York Times article, several that informed our research here. And one put it this way, as weird as it sounds, reading this, you'll walk away with the idea that glitter is made from, glitter. You start with a big old sheet of the stuff, right? Like a plastic or cellulose base, and then it's been metallicized, often with aluminum, and then you just keep cutting it, and you cut it smaller and smaller. The New York Times article in specific said, quote, "Big glitter begets smaller glitter. Smaller glitter gets everywhere. All glitter is impossible to remove." Surreal.
Remember that really embarrassing scene from, I think it's Attack of the Clones or Phantom Menace, where Anakin is bemoaning sand, the idea of sand? You could just replace the word sand in his little speech with glitter, which I'm going to do. I don't like glitter. I don't like glitter at all. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Yes, well done. And look, we can give you a little bit of the history of what we could call modern glitter. Most folks agree the modern version of plastic glitter dates back to the 1930s. And a big part of that is due to, like when you say modern glitter, we're talking about kind of a plastic base. A lot of modern glitter really comes from shortages during global wars, because people used to make glass glitter, little shards of glass. They couldn't maintain trade supply with Germany that was making a lot of glass shards. So this guy, who we'll talk about in a second, this guy named Henry, he starts making plastic-based glitter. But if you look back through the crazy game that we call humanity, this nutso fad, then you will see that people have been into shiny stuff. Most people, I am not, but most people have been into really shiny, gleaming stuff since before people wrote things down, before language was invented. People were part magpie.
I was about to say your pals, the what do you call them? The Corvids.
The Corvids. I was gonna say he's mostly
stuff
Corvid
out for miles.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Just a guy who does a show with you. We don't need to. You know what? When it comes to my past and being very Glitterex, very Meadowbrook, we don't need to know.
Isn't that funny though, that there's this like little thing deep in our reptile brains that just seeks the shine, man? Like Gold Rush is all based on the glimmer. It's all based on that shiny stuff, and that's how you know it's special. And glitter is essentially sort of like gaming that part of our brains with something essentially worthless, but that sort of like gives us a similar dopamine hit to the stuff that's actually quote unquote valuable.
That's why in those ancient times that you're talking about there, Ben, like prehistoric times, that's why people decided to put shiny on their face and on their arms and places that would make them shine to others. It's all about being shiny for you.
Their weenuses.
Witness me.
Witness me. They also, I don't know. I didn't agree with his religion until I saw his shiny weenuses. That man's onto something.
Can we just put this to bed real quick? Weenus is not a scientific term. I think we surely have discussed this before, but I don't know where that came about. But weenus is not actually an official name for the part of your elbow that's like it feels no pain.
That's true, and that's an important fact to establish. This is the quality of discourse you can expect from our show. Weenus, not a scientific term so far as we know. Somebody fact check us there just in case. I don't want a weenus doctor writing to us and say, actually, I'm the leading weenusologist of Southern New Jersey, and you guys are being quite offensive. There was one interesting thing that I don't think we talked about in the notes, but there's a fascinating theory that the attraction to things that shine and reflect light in that specific way comes from the need to find potable water. Like you could see water reflecting, and that might be partial. I don't think it's 100% explanation, but it is really fascinating, But also to your earlier point, Matt, ancient people had cosmetics, They wanted to pop just the same way that, your friends, your loved ones, maybe you like to pop or make a statement when you enter a room. All sorts of stuff was used. Malachite, hematite, crushed beetles, mica dust was very popular for a time. The list goes on. We're etymology nerds here, folks. In the English language, glitter comes from glitteren, which probably comes from an Old Norse phrase, glittra. So we're talking always about a new iteration of an ancient concept. Let's get back to our machine guy, though. Can we introduce the guy who introduced the modern world to modern glitter?
Gotta just say first, Modern Glitter, great name for like a new wave kind of synth band. Modern Glitter. That if that doesn't already exist, it should. Yeah, the guy in question, Henry F. Rushman.
Oh, Henry F. Henry invented he is New Jersey based. He invented a mechanical cutting machine, essentially, for paper and for photo film. Like if you remember your grade school days, Matt, you're doing the correct gesture, right? That weird elbow arm thing that only existed to slice stuff. It was not multifunctional.
Yeah. It only existed behind the desk in like the office, the main, and it was always like, this like sacred thing that looked so scary and dangerous. And it was under lock and key. Oh, God, yeah. It's like a little mini guillotine.
Little kid fingers against that thing? No chance.
Evolution, I say. But there's also, this reminds me, there's this whole panoply of these specific single-use tools that teachers possessed. They were vestments of power. Yeah, the hole punch, the lamination machine is another one. That one was super off the books for the civilian population. And overhead projectors. I was just talking about that off air, hanging out with some folks. Overhead projectors. You remember those?
Yeah, they always came on a cart, kind of strapped down, so you wouldn't like make off with it. I guess.
So we're probably giving some people some nostalgia here, and let's go ahead and mine that vein. So this guy's machine, Henry's machine, is pretty good, but it does something that he and his employees start to think of as stuttering. So every so often, while this thing is cutting up film and it's cutting up paper, it has a little like shiver fart, and it farts out these tiny pieces of cellulose used in film. And so employees started saving this stuff, and they would use it on their Christmas trees as artificial snow. That's pretty wholesome, especially for our show.
And I imagine we may get to this, but like tinsel seems like the more elongated cousin to glitter. Tinsel is like a similar kind of, metallized kind of material that comes in these strands that you would also, of course, use to decorate your Christmas tree, but probably similarly chemically and weird.
It's like glitter sketty.
Yes. Finally, the answer to the question no Italian asked. Why can't glitter be more like spaghetti? Look, this is true. That's a really good observation. Like, we're already starting to see how this happy accident acquires a number of applications. If you fast forward to the modern day, there's not just one glitter. There are over 20,000 different varieties of glitter that we know of. And I feel comfortable saying that in the context of this episode.
Some have yet to be discovered.
There's a whole periodic table of elements of glitter, and all the glitterati, all those in the know, the glitterologist and the weenologist and so on, they know that there are other types of glitter that may theoretically exist in this universe. And so we want to thank them for their service and their hard work finding the next. Okay, this analogy is breaking down. Moving on.
Well, speaking of breaking down, I mean, there, like you said, Ben, there's aluminum is probably the most obvious go-to that like is easier to kind of like, wrap your head around. It looks like that. It makes sense. Then you have stuff like titanium dioxide, iron oxide, and bismuth oxychloride.
Oh, finally. Good. Yeah. Bismuth oxychloride. Our sponsor, Illumination Global Unlimited, wants you to know that you can write to illuminationglobalunlimited.com/conspiracy and get 15% off your bismuth oxychloride needs. That is not true. No one check it. Okay.
Make sure to read the disclaimer at the end. It's a little long, but worth your time.
And it's worth your time, Fjord. So there are also a lot of shapes, right? Just like, this, here's a good comparison. Campbell's soup, right? Campbell's soup has
mix-ins.
Yeah, you got chicken and rice, you got chicken and stars, you got chicken and noodles. You can take these things, just like noodles, or just like, the basic carbohydrate making up these things. You can make glitter in any number of shapes. You want little stars? We got you. You want little bells? You need some sparkly tiny bells
for the holidays or whatever. Any bell, oriented occasion.
Yeah. And so this is, and of course, again, these all come with tons of different color possibilities, tons of different elements with which these are manufactured. But one thing that we ran into that really set the tone or foreshadowed our mystery today is, I don't know about you guys, I think we all were. I was looking for some very basic statistics. Typically, not always, but typically in any kind of consumer industry, it's pretty easy to find usage statistics of some sort for a thing. The Dairy Association really wants you to know how much cheese, milk, how many eggs people are eating this year versus last year. Not so with glitter. They're incredibly hesitant. The glitter manufacturers are incredibly hesitant to share even basic stuff like the exact sales numbers, the exact amount of glitter made per year in general. Even the statistics that I was able to pull didn't quite get us there, and there's not a lot of verified information out there. But it would be like imagine going to a car manufacturer and you ask them, how many cars do you make a year? And they say, no.
Wow. Okay.
Or they say,
the
what would be even worse to me, and it's kind of what happens in this situation is, well, we make a lot of cars. We make cars for rental companies. We make cars for consumers. We make cars for, big corporations, for fleets. We make cars for a lot of things.
Then there's this whole other category that is just a black hole. You will never know where these cars are going, and don't ask again, or we will have you killed.
One statistic I did find that was interesting is, I believe it is for Glitterex. I did find the minimum order that you have to place. It's 10 pounds of glitter. That gives me nightmares. That's the minimum order.
It's a lot.
Yeah, 10 pounds?
Glitter doesn't weigh anything. That doesn't weigh anything. Come on.
That's a good bachelorette party, right?
That's a bachelorette party that will.
I mean, think about 10 pounds. You could bench that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could brain somebody with 10. What does 10 pounds of glitter even look like? Like, it's just
It looks like a disaster waiting to happen. You drop that stuff and boom, it's the Big Bang. You know what I mean? Your room becomes a personal observatory, and it will haunt the generations who come after you because, as we'll see, glitter adheres, glitter stays in surprising places.
And speaking of nothing existing in a vacuum, that stuff will exist in your vacuum forever. You just get a new vacuum. It's over, man. It's going to shred the interior. And if it doesn't, it's just going to be stuck. And every time you vacuum, it's just going to make little droppings of glitter all throughout your house. Don't even bother.
Yeah. I even went through, I was cleaning out some of my library, and I found a series of correspondences in this book from someone I used to know, very Gautier about that, and the glitter was still there, and it got on my hands, it got on one of my cats, and I was like, this lady cursed me, and she knew she was doing it. But maybe I'm being cynical. Point is, we don't have the statistics. If you are a glitter insider, we would love to hear your take. I'm even getting paranoid. I'm starting to see glitter everywhere in the course of researching today's episode. But we can say this, folks. A lot of people use glitter all of the time, and we know that consumption spikes massively around certain holidays, certain festive occasions. That makes sense, but that is barely a sliver of the inside world of glitter. Like, if we think about the uses of glitter, potential and proven uses, this is where we run into some really strange water. I mean, first off, okay, we're talking uses. Costumes, decorations, totally, right? That's easy. Stationery, pens, markers, sparkle pens. You want to be the hottest Lisa Frank fan in middle school or whatever, you got a sparkle pen, right? Is that a thing still?
I think so. It comes, where it's suspended in kind of a weird liquid That's probably either some kind of alcohol. Who knows what's in those things? But guys, I also just Googled glitter bomb because I know it's a thing. There are no less than like 5 companies that make these like spring-loaded gag gifts that you can send an enemy in the mail that when upon opening will burst and explode in a fountain of glitter. Which that means war. I mean, that is bad times. Who would you do that to? Who deserves that kind of thing?
I'll tell you, a friend of mine, I'm not going to name names because this is a weird story, but a friend of mine a few years back sent, this couple sent their baby shower announcement with something like a glitter bomb. Like it wasn't proprietary glitter, but you'd open the thing and then it's like, a bunch of glitter.
Is this a gender reveal thing? Is it blue or pink glitter? Or this is literally just announcing the birth?
I was not even concerned with that part. I just got in touch with my friend and I was like, dude, what is going on? What happened? And he said, it's my wife's idea. She likes glitter. And I said, okay, well, first off, congratulations. I'm really happy for you. Secondly, I don't like glitter. And,
please do not send this to me.
Yeah, please don't. But
it was Joe McCormick, wasn't it?
It was
I don't know. Joe doesn't strike. He wouldn't stand for that. Joe knows better. He knows
our good friend from
Stuff
to Blow Your Mind. You may recall him from our excellent episode on the bicameral mind. Do check it out. We'll have to see Joe's take on glitter. There's another thing that might surprise. Well, this won't surprise anyone, right? Makeup. The makeup industry itself is so ready for good stuff they don't want you to know episode, but it makes sense. It makes up sense that glitter would be in these cosmetic products. It gets weirder. Some of the base elements of what we would call glitter have been used in spacecraft. There are also military applications. For a while, the U.S. Air Force was using a glitter-like substance. Now, they want to be taken seriously, which we understand, so they didn't call it glitter. They called it chaff.
That would be really funny if in the original Top Gun, or some of these movies, they're like, hit him with the glitter! Hit him with the glitter!
Dude, that stuff gets in your eyes and you inhale it. I mean, that could be a deadly weapon if used correctly.
Well, it'll
some
make
sort of like propulsive,
It'll confuse a heat-seeking missile and enemy radar.
I'm sure. It also reminds me of in Breaking Bad, when you see them gathering all the materials they need to make meth. I believe aluminum, sort of like fragmented aluminum that looks a lot like glitter is also a thing. So there is, a version of this that isn't for public use. It is more for like industrial kind of chemical manufacture as well.
100%. Yeah. And of course, the U.S. Air Force, being a serious outfit, is not going to say that they have jets farting glitter bombs out to bedevil satellites and radar-guided missiles, but something very much like that is happening. It is jet farts. So there was...
Also known as chemtrails.
Also known as chemtrails. There we go. We solved it. So big thank you to a journalist over at Slate, Henry Grabar, who looked into this and found that the Department of Defense, as of 2018, has only one supplier of chaff, of, glitter. And this is a place called Easterline Defense Technologies. And they have a subsidiary called Armtech. And when Henry reached out to Armtech and to their parent company, he was able to confirm that their chaff is made of metallized glass fibers, so much closer to the old school glass glitter, and definitely something you do not want in your body, nor in the body of a loved one, because eating glass is, spoiler, bad for you.
Yeah, it's like a prison thing, like a way to slow murder somebody is to like feed them ground glass or like put it in their food.
Because even if you can't detect it,
it'll literally like eviscerate your insides slowly over time.
So military aircraft are just shooting that stuff out every once in a while, and even in testing over, I guess, mostly the desert here in the U.S. and in other parts of the world.
They're
just shooting it out in the atmosphere.
They're helping the sand, Matt, and that's what we're going to find. Sand needs help. Okay, this is one of the weird ones for us. But anyway, we're not even at the crazy part.
This is a microplastic, right? I mean,
it is.
That's what we're talking about here, correct?
Yeah, the modern glitter, as we think of it now, is getting everywhere. It might seem ephemeral when you are around it, but don't be fooled, especially the plastic-based stuff. It takes about 1,000 years to completely biodegrade. It is a combination of aluminum and plastic most often, so depressingly, it starts off as a microplastic. And there are terrible facts about microplastic. We've done them in previous episodes. There was a 2020 study that showed this stuff is small enough to become airborne, enter the water system. The next time it rains, as a matter of fact, regardless of where you're living, there are microplastics in that water. So don't, look up and open your mouth. Just be careful. And that's not even our reveal.
And through the water cycle, that stuff ends up back in the atmosphere and then kind of essentially cycles back in every single time.
In fish, in children, in you, your loved ones, your dog, plants, any living thing. But it might surprise you folks to learn that we are not focusing on the environmental consequences of this. Do check out our microplastics episode if you are having too good of a day. Instead, today we are asking, who is the biggest customer of this mysterious substance? Who is buying all this glitter? We're going to pause for a word from our sponsors, and heads up, folks, you might want to strap in. Here's where it gets crazy. Edit me here, Paul. Who's the biggest customer of glitter? No one knows. It's true, folks. I, like many people who are not in the glitter industry, first learned of this strange mystery thanks to some great work over at the New York Times and The Cut in 2018.
So, most of the glitter that we're aware of here in the States comes from a couple of different places, and most of it is built, cut, manufactured in New Jersey. I think the biggest two are in New Jersey, correct? Or is that just the two that are in town, Ben?
The biggest two definitely in the United States.
Excellent. So we know the names of these. We got Meadowbrook. And Meadowbrook, that's the same dude, Henry, that we were talking about earlier. That's the company. It's just kind of, gone down the line. And then the other one is called Glitter X. Glitter X.
Not like SpaceX. It's like Glitter EX. It's like one word. Yeah.
Right. Like you have a glittery X. So Glitter X is the younger of the two companies, founded in 1963. Both companies are weirdly secret about some things. This might surprise a lot of us in the audience today because I think many people tend to associate glitter with lighthearted, if occasionally annoying, fun. Glitter X is little Willy Wonka about their process. Not as much as Meadowbrook, but they don't want people on the outside to see how glitter is made, including their clients. They also don't reveal the names of those clients. And per the leadership of GlitterX, that is a request of the clients themselves. We do know Revlon consented to be identified as a GlitterX customer. And this prompts me to float our very first theory out here. I'm going to pitch it to you guys. Fairies are real. Pixie dust is a thing. These companies are grinding up the bodies of fairies and selling those parts in tiny, tiny parcels. Yeah?
Mystery solved.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
I'm not buying it, Ben. I'm not buying it.
Wow. Okay. Well, you need a unanimous vote.
If we're talking about Revlon, and we know that glitter is not good to be consumed or inhaled or whatever, I would think their use would be having it be suspended in some lip gloss or cosmetic of some kind, which I guess if it's on your eye, the chances of you eating it or inhaling it are very unlikely. You're not going to absorb it through your skin. But is it that kind of stuff? for like an eyeshadow or something like that. Definitely not a lip gloss because you'd be licking your lips and then you would likely consume it.
I think for many people, if we're talking about the sparkling genre of glitter, it's pretty apparent when you see something glittery, right? Humans are hardwired to identify it. So you see paint on a car or a boat, you can tell that it's shiny, right? You see maybe some makeup of some sort, maybe an eyeshadow to that point, and you can tell it is shiny for some reason. This is part of the mystery, right? Does a company want people to know that they have glitter? Well, GlitterX claims that the reason they are so uptight or so close to the chest about who is buying all this stuff they make is due to the demands of the clients themselves. And I think this is understandable. So companies don't want other competitors in their industry to know what glitter is in their products because it's insider info, and it can help your competitor make something very close to or closer to your own unique project. And this is where we get to one of the most fun parts of this article by Katie Weaver, credit where it's due. Katie Weaver, the journalist who investigates this story, has a beautiful moment that I suggest we do as a dramatic reenactment between her and Lauren Dyer, who is a manager at GlitterX at the time. Who wants to play Weaver? Who wants to play Dyer?
Oh, dealer's choice. I love this exchange, though. It is so bizarrely cagey. It makes no sense. Could I be Dyer? Is that okay?
Totally, Matt. You feeling Weaver-esque?
Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me, Ms. Dyer. That's not part of the thing.
Happy
it's
to
just
do it.
I just like to have
Here
this
for
conversation.
Transparency mainly, just here to shed a little light,
I really thank you. Yeah, a very sparkly light, and I love what you do. I love your company, and I love the things. It's just one of my favorite things. So, can you tell me which industry is your biggest market?
Oh God, no. No, absolutely no. No, I can't. I know who it is, but I cannot divulge that information.
Okay, but you know what industry is your biggest market?
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. And you would never guess. Never. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, why can't you tell me?
Because they don't want anyone to know. Dun dun dun. That it's glitter.
Well done, folks.
What is this? What is this?
Right.
Oh my God!
We editorialized a little, but that is the basis of the conversation. Dyer goes on to say she seems tickled to know a secret. She also goes on to almost reveal more than she meant to. There's definitely an "I've said too much" moment there when Weaver asked, if you'll
it's
recognize
about like
this stuff
if I looked at it.
Yeah.
Right.
But I really can't tell you.
Which is just weird. It's like, why even go there? I mean, I guess a PR person's job is to sort of be the human face of like a monolithic company. And that's what this person is doing an okay job at, sort of making a little bit of a joke about it, but then ultimately just like there's a line that they are not willing to cross. And that line becomes very clear.
Well, especially if it's a client demand, right? You might have some hard lines, some bright lines that you cannot cross. Even if you don't think it's a big deal. This happens all the time when businesses work together. So without official confirmation from either GlitterX or Meadowbrook, which is somehow, again, even more tight-lipped, we are left with some intriguing theories. First, we have to consider it appears to be a request of the clients. Companies out there don't want to be identified as glitter consumers. And this could just be a specific manufacturer of something that obviously has glitter elements in it, doesn't want their competitors to get the inside info, and then maybe, for instance, just freestyling here, maybe they buy up all the glitter, right? And now you have lost a key component of one of your product ingredients. But the most intriguing question is something else. Is there some industry that uses glitter in a way the consumers or the public wouldn't like? For example, boat paint has been proposed as like some sort of hidden buyer of glitter, but it's probably not. Actually, I'm going to say it's definitely not the biggest consumer. Honestly, most people also wouldn't care, nor would they be especially surprised to learn there was glitter in paint.
Well, certainly we've seen, candy paint, they call that, in certain types of cars that have clearly some sort of suspended, shiny, kind of like substance in them. That's not that surprising. But that's the thing, though. We already know glitter is bad for the environment. So it's like to go a step further and be like, no, we don't want anyone to know that we're using glitter. Is it because it's a bad look? Is it a trade secret? Like, what is it? I don't get it.
I think that's the big question here. And it does feel as though it sounds like an NDA thing to me. Like it's a trade secret. And maybe it's not as nefarious as we think it might be. Or, let's keep going. I want to get to the speculation section where we're really diving into our pet theories about what it is.
Well, and last thing for me really quickly, like even with like a trade secret, like a Coca-Cola recipe or something like that, you'll have certain ingredients that are on the list on the back and you'll have like a number of calories, but then there'll be some little vague part in the description of the ingredients that'll be like special herbs and spices or whatever it might be. But usually you kind of know what category of material you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Like this seems to go beyond that in an intriguing and kind of scary way.
So to answer that earlier supposition, it is likely a mix, a melange of multiple considerations. What we're going to do now is pause for a word from our sponsor, and to your suggestion, Matt, we're going to dive into some of the wilder speculation. We're entering rabbit hole country. We have returned, sparkling, shiny and chrome. The wilder speculation goes through a number of different things. One of my favorite that I feel is disturbingly plausible goes to the military-industrial complex and law enforcement. Let's just rip that Band-Aid off. Here's our big reveal. What about bombs? What about explosives? This can be a way to track an explosion. It's kind of similar to a thing the KGB did during the Cold War. They would use this substance that had the street name spy dust, and they would use this to trace American agents who are behind the curtain, behind the Iron Curtain. And it's some versions of it show up in ultraviolet light, but you would never know it could be used to track you. If you got dusted, you would not immediately clock it. The same way an unfortunate victim of a crime might eat powdered glass.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that spokesperson for GlitterX was willing to say was that it's used sometimes in like animal feed so that they can like track it in their poop. That was a weird one. Like that's very interesting. And that sort of speaks to this, like the indestructibility of glitter, which is fascinating to me. Like it cannot be, it's like neither created nor destroyed. I mean, it's certainly created, but once it exists, it's just there. And then it will leave a trail, wherever it ends up. And so you can use that to say, okay, this is where the thing went.
And I think this is incredibly important, like going back to military uses, law enforcement uses, forensic uses. There's something people need to know about. They're called microtaggants. Microtaggants are a multi-layered, tiny micro glitter thing added to commercial explosives. This means that if someone were to say, use dynamite in the commission of a crime, they could unknowingly leave evidence behind, and you don't need a ton of sophisticated gear to detect these things. Like a serviceable microscope will help you if you know what you're looking for. This persistence of glitter is something forensic investigators love. The same reason a lot of people hate it. It establishes a great trace. In fact, in real life, not some Law and Order episode. In real life, glitter has been used multiple times as evidence to help seal the deal on criminal investigations.
It's a really interesting concept because, as we said, there are over 20,000 different types of glitter, right? And if let's say you're manufacturing explosives and you put a different kind of glitter in every batch of explosive that you put out, being able to then track that stuff, it's a great idea.
It's like ballistics, or it's like a way of like understanding where the bullet was manufactured once you've pulled it out of the wall or whatever, or what kind of like rifling is on the barrel of the gun, like these like certain little kind of like indicators.
Yes. But now imagine if you take that out a little further and you think about warheads, explosives that are used in missiles that are fired, bombs that are dropped, maybe a grenade that goes off somewhere, or even a flashbang or something like that that's used by law enforcement. If you start associating glitter with all of those things that can maim, that can cause death, that can, be used as a power of the state for control, you may not think about glitter at the Elton John farewell concert in the same way, right? It's not as exciting anymore. It's not as fun anymore. It's like, ooh, yeah. So I can imagine why explosives manufacturers wouldn't want anybody to know that they use a lot of it.
That's a good point. Oh, that's the reason. Yes.
There's another reason, though, and it's the same as market competition. You wouldn't want somebody to be able to mimic
which one you're using.
Yeah, mimic your work, because then you could, say, set up a false flag pretty easily. It definitely makes it easier than it would have been. So this is real. Like, it's I know I'm I know there was some skepticism in our group when I was like hyping up this glitter thing, and I said we got to talk about it. But I hope we're delivering here, folks. There's another weird thing we got to tell you. This one made no sense to me at first. What if glitter? What if the primary consumers of glitter are using it to make sand? Full disclosure, we're kind of walking out of our way here to hip you to some weird sand facts. Don't let the Sahara fool you. Didn't know this till recently. Earth is slowly running out of sand. I know Earth has been in a fire sale for a while and is running out of all sorts of stuff. What was it, Matt? Helium? Running out, or hydrogen? It's helium. Running out of that stuff. People are concerned about potable or drinkable water. Fertilizer as well, right? Sand is the second most consumed natural resource on the planet. Number one is water. Number two, as weird as it sounds, is sand. So what if...
Well, it makes sense. I mean, you use sand to make glass, first of all, right?
Yeah. You use sand to make, sand boxes. That's one.
Sand castles. Sand dunes. No, but seriously, sand is a manufacturing, it's an important manufacturing component. You use it to lubricate things, you know what I mean? Like in an industrial situation to make things slide off the line easier or not stick, things like that.
Use it in masonry, of course. Yeah. So the idea in this theory is that glitter could be used as a component to sand. Honestly, this argument is kind of spitballing. Just in my opinion, this is, again, our excuse to talk about sand facts. But there's something else. There's something that we want to thank a Redditor for, a Redditor named Whooping Willow. We do not know Whoops, but I feel like we're familiar enough to call you that. I hope that feels good. I hope that's a nickname you like. Tip of the Badger bag to you, Whoops, because you, or we can call you WW, you built an intriguing case for, of all things, the food and beverage industry. So let's walk through this. Let's see what we think. Whoops is building an argument that the primary secret consumer of glitter is the food and beverage industry.
Okay, guys, hold on. Before we do that, and we're going to get to that. So it's obviously a play on Weeping Willow, right?
I think so.
Do you think it's
and whooping crane?
Well, it could be whooping, but it's like whooping like a switch? Like you're getting a switch from the willow?
Getting your butt kicked. Yeah, getting a whooping. I think that's
like a whooping cough.
Wouldn't that be WHUPPIN?
Unclear. I think it's a colloquial spelling. I think it depends on what part of the global wood.
I feel like when people are talking about a whooping, if they're not from 1800s Western Europe, then they're not going to have the G, the hard G at the end. That's a little too official.
Oh, whooping.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay, you're right.
But you guys like the
Okay.
nickname Whoops?
Sorry.
I hope you like it. Whoops.
No, whoops is great, but I think whooping cough or whooping crane, look, the fact that we've talked about it for this long implies that there is a lot of great hidden meaning in this Reddit handle. So kudos to you. But what did this individual assemble?
Right. Whoop, whoop. All right. So Whoops says, look at this. We already know that Glitterex isn't going to spill the beans or toss their confetti or whatever. So Whoops looks at Meadowbrook and says, this website, and we confirm this, you can check this website today if you'd like. Their website has 9 primary applications for glitter: cosmetic, adhesive, fashion, floral, greeting card, fiberglass, craft, printing, and aerosol. And then they list the different types of glitter, which are all pretty much what you would expect, including biodegradable. This is what Whoops finds interesting. Meadowbrook does sell biodegradable glitter, but doesn't list food or drink as an application. That's true. Also, if you go to the page, what's called like the color card for biodegradable glitter in specific, you will see that the website lists the names and phone numbers for sales inquiries. And this is the only part of the site that lists those specific contact numbers, that contact information, the email and stuff.
So if biodegradable glitter is a thing, why not make all glitter biodegradable? Does it limit you in your color palette? Is it less fun inherently? I don't get it. Like why are people still making non-biodegradable glitter, knowing what we know about how long it takes for glitter to biodegrade and how horrible microplastics are for the environment?
Less cost effective, perhaps, at an economy of scale. That would be one of the first guesses, right?
It's probably more expensive. Yep.
Yeah. So this isn't watertight proof, but it had Whoops wondering. Whether this was because this specific reach out was because food manufacturers didn't want to be on the books putting their information on a website. They wanted to just call, Johnny Glitters and get the glitter added to the cereal. I don't know if I mean, this is interesting. Whoops has other stuff they mention, like there are a lot of flavor and fragrance companies in New Jersey. New Jersey has 3 times the national average of employment in those industries in particular. But there's one thing we have to point out. Biodegradable glitter is not the same as food safe glitter necessarily. They should not be conflated.
There is edible glitter that's used in like cake making and like, cocktails and stuff. It's like called edible glitter. And it is, again, it doesn't come in as many varieties of shapes and sizes and, colors, but it is a thing. And it's a very different manufacturing process.
100%.
I'm just thinking about all the things I look at that are shiny, and I happen to have a $20 bill here.
Okay. I feel like a big
look,
league in
I'm
us.
a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm a big deal. Okay. I'm looking at this thing, and I can't tell if it's really shiny or if my mind is telling me that it's shiny in this moment because I'm looking for it. If I've got some kind
The
of
holographic
bias.
bits, the plasticky type bits. So what are we talking about?
There's a little, on a 20 at least, the newer versions of a 20, there's a gold bits part on the bottom here that looks shiny, but it doesn't look like glitter necessarily.
It's more like metallic flake of some kind.
But the whole thing has like a
sheen,
shine to it.
What about the security strip, Matt? Because if it's a 20, it's a high enough denomination to have that security strip. I can teach you how to take it.
It's in there.
It's down the middle,
I
right?
can teach you how to take them out if you want. It won't be very helpful.
No. Please don't. Please,
the
please
tweezer,
don't.
I believe. You can just go in the side and pull it
If you
on out.
want a closer look. The currency, maybe using something like this. Of course, paint, but paint is not super surprising. If it's not the food industry, then what could it be? This Whoops makes a very compelling case for thinking about this. Could it be that cosmetic manufacturers don't want customers to know that various top tier exfoliants or whatever are just basically glitter, a little bit of snake oil or panacea to make, or placebo rather, to make you feel like it's worth it to pay $50 a bottle. Maybe.
But those have to pass FDA, tests. And I don't think the FDA would give a pass to something that had something that carcinogenic in it. Exfoliants are usually like pumice or some kind of, organic material. And they have to pass some level of rigor with the FDA. So I don't know that I necessarily believe that.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence myself because there are other things that we have to consider. Maybe the bulk of this investigation is going in the wrong direction. People think of glitter as always sparkling, but that's not the case. If you look at, and this is coming from the CEOs of GlitterX, if you look at clear glitter, the clear stuff that will become glitter before it gets colorized and all that jazz, it looks a lot like tiny pieces of a dead jellyfish. You can also make matte glitter, M-A-T-T-E. Well, it's not like you, because you have a sparkling personality, Matt. This stuff is flat and dull, but it's still technically glitter. We just haven't added the shiny. So it could be that opens the door. It could be a number of other things. And at this point, like, we don't know the answer. I like explosives for it. I like military applications.
I love it. No, that makes so much sense. The tracking quality. Oh God, the tracking, man. It also, it feeds into our whole annoyance with glitter. The fact that you can't get rid of it. And it's like a breadcrumb trail. And like the fact that like with ballistics, you would not want some other manufacturer to know which one was yours, because then they might use the same one. And then they might get blamed for something that they were not responsible for. And again, when I say responsible, we know manufacturers of weapons don't typically take responsibility for anything, but it's a liability.
Yeah, thing. It's a security risk too, right? If it's impairing the potential operation of whatever you're using. And we unfortunately have to be vague about that. No one has solved this. If you are a glitter insider, we hope this is at least giving you a chuckle. We would also love to hear from you, because we can draw the following conclusion. One thing is for sure, when it comes to glitter, there's definitely stuff they don't want you to know. And I've got to ask you, Matt, I've got to ask you, Noel, I know this was one of those, we work together pretty closely, folks, so we are... we're always kind of brainstorming and cogitating. This is one of those episodes where we're pitching it around. Nobody flat out said, no, this is weird, don't do it. But there were some very, very diplomatic questions of what the hell.
I thought it was mainly going to be in the kind of like environmental, hazard area. But this whole is it in bombs thing? And we don't know, but I think this is the quintessential stuff they don't want you to know. And that whole conversation from that Cut article, really, when you have that level of subterfuge or that level of non-transparency, in a highly regulated world of manufacturing, that's pretty rare. And that really made my spidey sense go off.
Do you guys think this was worth it?
Yeah, it's totally worth it. I think, though, we are taking the bait of big glitter. I think they're worried that Elton John is retiring and Madonna's going away. Yeah, big glitter's worried that they're going to lose a bunch of market share because all of these...
Toothpaste. We didn't even get to toothpaste. I think we may have mentioned dentifrices once.
Is it really that big, glitter? It's like these two companies. The ones that were big enough to make the conversation.
Guys, I sent you a picture of Colgate, a specific type of Colgate. It's like shiny diamonds or some craziness. What is it called? Let me find it. Colgate Max
big
White.
Squares.
It's called Colgate Dirt Mouth Filth Time.
It looks like smaller versions of those weird, plasticky, melty breath freshener things, kind of suspended in toothpaste.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to swallow it, so what's the big deal? Not a problem.
Not a problem. Yeah, there was a toothpaste manufacturer got in trouble it may have been Colgate, right? With including glitter in this stuff. And again, like you said, Matt, you're not supposed to eat it, but people started getting glitter in their teeth. And they're like, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what 9 out of 10 dentists led me to believe was a solid move on my part.
Oh, we didn't even talk about, we're talking about trade secrets, right? Car manufacturers' paints are all proprietary, right? So Honda makes different paints than Toyota, than Kia, than all of these manufacturers. But I am noticing that newer models of vehicles on the road today do seem even shinier than they were in the past.
Well, with that, let us know, folks. You see, we are here at the precipice of the current investigation. This is where we pass the sparkle pen to you. We hope this slightly lighter episode finds you hale and hearty in a mid-grand adventure, and we cannot wait to hear your thoughts. Who is buying all this glitter? Let us know. We try to be easy to find online.
Correct. You can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Twitter, and you can find us on YouTube, where we exist under the handle Conspiracy Stuff. Check out our Instagram. We've got some fun. We've been doing some kind of extra shoots and little virally, potentially, hopefully, make it viral, make it so, videos and reels and stuff. A particularly fun one about the moon just dropped, and also memes and the like. You can find that account at the handle Conspiracy Stuff Show. If the social medias aren't your thing, you can give us a telephone call.
Yes, that's correct. You can speak directly to us through the magic of telephones. All you have to do is give us a call. Say it with me, 1-833-STDWYTK. You'll hear a voice that lets you know you're in a familiar place. You'll hear a beep like so, beep, and then you'll have 3 minutes. They're yours. Those 3 minutes belong to you. Go nuts, go ham. And then let us know a nickname to use for you. We like nicknames. We just gave a random Redditor a nickname. Second, most importantly, let us know if we can use your name and or message on air. First, most importantly, if you need more than 3 minutes, don't censor yourself. Don't feel like you have to keep calling. You can write it all down for us in an email. We read every single piece of correspondence we get. All you have to do is drop us a line where we are.
Conspiracy@iHeartRadio.com. Stuff They Don't Want You to Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.